You have probably heard it at a dinner party at least once. A glass of red wine every night is actually good for your heart, and maybe even good for your brain. Maybe you have also heard the opposite, that any amount of alcohol damages your brain cells, and there is no such thing as a safe drink. So which one is it? Is that evening glass of wine quietly protecting your memory, or is it slowly chipping away at it, one sip at a time? For decades, scientists themselves could not agree on the answer. Some studies found alcohol protected the brain. Others found it destroyed it. A few found nothing at all. A team of researchers in China just tried to settle this argument once and for all by pulling together every major study on alcohol and dementia they could find and combining the data into one giant analysis. Before we get to what they found, let's talk about why this question matters so much right now. Dementia is not a single disease. It is an umbrella term for a group of conditions that slowly steal away memory, thinking ability, and eventually the capacity to live independently. Right now, dementia affects around 7% of people aged 65 and older worldwide. In wealthier countries, where people live longer, that number climbs to 8 to 10%. And the trend is only accelerating. Researchers project the number of people living with dementia will climb from about 50 million in 2020 to a staggering 152 million by 2050. That is not just a medical problem. Dementia already costs the world economy an estimated $1 trillion a year in caregiving, lost productivity, and medical bills. So identifying anything that changes your personal risk, for better or worse, has become one of the most urgent questions in medicine. Now, alcohol. It is, without question, one of the most widely consumed substances on the planet. Ask yourself, how many social occasions in your life have involved a drink of some kind? Weddings, football games, a rough day at work, a first date. Alcohol is woven into human culture so deeply that in many places, turning down a drink still raises eyebrows. And yet, alcohol has also been linked to more than 200 different diseases and health conditions. Mental health disorders, violence, traffic accidents, high blood pressure, heart disease, liver disease, and multiple types of cancer. Heavy, long-term drinking is well known to physically damage the brain. Part of the mechanism is a deficiency in thiamine, a vitamin that heavy drinkers often lack, combined with the direct toxic effects of alcohol and its byproduct, acetaldehyde, on brain cells. But here is where it gets genuinely confusing. Some studies over the years have suggested that low levels of drinking might actually lower the risk of dementia, not raise it. Researchers have even described something called a J-shaped or U-shaped curve. Picture a graph where the risk is highest if you never drink at all, drops to its lowest point somewhere around light or moderate drinking, and then rises sharply again once you drink heavily. Have you ever wondered why that would even make biological sense? Why would a little alcohol help when a lot clearly hurts? One theory is that light drinking might slightly increase total brain volume, reduce silent brain injuries and damage to white matter, improve blood lipid profiles, and calm down inflammation markers in the body. Meanwhile, heavy and prolonged drinking overwhelms any of those small benefits with direct neurotoxic damage, and eventually with full-blown alcohol use disorder, which is its own separate category of risk entirely. Previous research on this exact question had already tried to find an answer, but kept running into the same walls. Some analyses were based on too few studies. Others had small sample sizes. Some only looked at Alzheimer's disease specifically, and ignored other forms of dementia like vascular dementia entirely. One earlier meta-analysis found that excessive drinking raised the risk of progressing from mild cognitive impairment to full dementia, but was built on a small handful of studies. Another found that alcohol might lower Alzheimer's risk, with a notable difference between men and women, but did not examine other dementia subtypes at all. In short, the science was scattered, contradictory, and incomplete, which is exactly the gap this new research set out to close. Let's take a step back for a second and think about how this actually plays out in a real life. Picture someone in their 60s. They have one glass of wine most evenings with dinner. Are they doing their brain a favor or quietly gambling with it? And picture someone else, younger, who only drinks occasionally but heavily on weekends. Does that pattern carry the same risk as steady, daily heavy drinking? These are not hypothetical questions. Millions of people fall into exactly these categories every single day. The researchers also wanted to know whether where you live and how old you are might change the equation. Alcohol consumption habits vary enormously around the world, shaped by culture, religion, income, and local alcohol policy. Europe, for instance, has some of the highest average alcohol consumption levels on the planet. Does that mean Europeans face a uniquely different risk profile compared to, say, someone in East Asia or North America? And age matters too. A 25-year-old who drinks heavily faces very different risks than a 70-year-old doing the same thing, because the underlying causes of harm, from accidents and injuries in young people to cardiovascular strain in older adults, shift dramatically across a lifetime. So the team behind this new analysis set an ambitious goal. Take every meaningful study on alcohol and dementia they could find, across decades of research in multiple continents, and combine it all into a single, statistically powerful answer. What they built ended up being the largest and most detailed analysis of its kind, drawing on tens of millions of people. And the answer they found was more nuanced and honestly more interesting than a simple yes or no. Stick with us, because in the next couple of minutes we're going to walk through exactly what they did and exactly what they found, including some numbers that might genuinely surprise you. Here is exactly what the researchers did. They systematically searched 4 major databases: PubMed, EMBIS, the Cochrane Library, and Web of Science, for every relevant study published from each database's creation up through July of 2024. After removing duplicates and screening titles and abstracts, they narrowed an initial pool of 2,663 records down to a final set of 21 studies that met their strict inclusion criteria. Those 21 studies were massive. Combined, they covered 24,191,921 participants, over 24 million people, including more than 5 million men and 6 million women, spanning 14 countries across Europe, North America, Asia, and Oceania. Among those participants, researchers had recorded 1,233,833 confirmed cases of dementia. 19 of the studies followed people over time as cohort studies, and 2 were case control studies. When the team first compared any drinking at all against not drinking, without separating out how much people actually drank, they found no significant link either way. Not for dementia overall, not for Alzheimer's, not for vascular dementia. But the moment they split people up by exactly how much they drank, a clear pattern emerged. Light to moderate drinkers, meaning fewer than 3 drinks a day, showed a 12% lower risk of dementia overall, and a 12% lower risk of Alzheimer's disease specifically, compared to people who did not drink at all. Heavy drinkers, 3 or more drinks a day, told the opposite story. An 18% higher risk of dementia overall, a 29% higher risk of Alzheimer's, and a 25% higher risk of vascular dementia. And people who met the clinical criteria for an alcohol use disorder faced the starkest number in the entire study: a risk of dementia more than 3 times higher than non-drinkers. The protective effect of moderate drinking was not evenly spread around the world either. It showed up most strongly in Europe, and most strongly in people between 60 and 69 years old, exactly the demographic and region where drinking culture and cardiovascular risk intersect most closely. The researchers themselves were careful to add some important caveats. This is observational data, not a controlled experiment, so it cannot prove that alcohol directly causes these effects. People who abstain entirely sometimes include former heavy drinkers who already quit due to health problems, which can make abstinence look riskier than it really is. Definitions of a standard drink also vary by country. 8 grams of alcohol counts as 1 drink in the United Kingdom, 10 grams in Australia, 14 grams in the United States, which adds some imprecision when comparing studies internationally. And crucially, the researchers were explicit that this is not an invitation to start drinking. Alcohol remains linked to over 200 diseases, including several cancers, where even a single daily drink can raise risk. Their message was clear. If you already do not drink, do not start for your brain's sake. And if you drink heavily, this is one more solid reason to cut back. So where does that leave the wine at dinner? The science suggests that for some people, moderate drinking sits inside a narrow window where the numbers tilt in your favor for dementia risk specifically, while heavy drinking, and especially alcohol dependence, tilts sharply and dramatically against you. It is not a green light to drink more. It is a data point, one of many, in the much bigger picture of how the choices we make today quietly shape the mind we will have decades from now.